fans, good Monday morning. Welcome to the show, Monday Morning Breakdown. I'm John Murphy alongside Bills insider Chris Brown from BuffaloBills.com. Welcome to our show, whether you're following us on Facebook, on Twitter, or on YouTube. We do this every Monday. Spend a few minutes breaking down the Bills game from the day before, and a good one to break down this week, Chris. Second win in a row. We haven't been able to say that yet this year. That's pretty amazing.
Stacking wins.
Stacking them up now. It was a lot of fun yesterday at the stadium. A lot going on yesterday. Most of the attention going into the game focused on rookie quarterback Josh Allen. Most of the attention coming out on Josh Allen for good reason. I thought Josh took a major step forward yesterday. He wasn't great. He's not a finished product by any means, but I do think Josh Allen took a big step forward yesterday. And the thing that impressed me among everything he did was how competitive he is. And I said this earlier this year on this show and on the radio show we do as well. He's got a competitive fire, a competitive spirit that is undeniable, I think. And he was right there ready to bring it right back to the game when he got back in the lineup in yesterday's game. Threw the ball pretty well, for the most part, threw it with authority. I thought the ball came out on time in yesterday's game, which was big for him. Ran the ball extremely well, right? Set a Bills record for rushing yards by a quarterback. I think there were a couple times when I wished he would have hung in there and thrown it, got rid of the ball rather than run. But for the most part, I thought Josh Allen was outstanding in his return to the lineup yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I know his statistics aren't going to look great from a passing perspective. He was 8 of 19 throwing, but I mean, a lot of his passes in terms of ball location were very good. The receivers just didn't come up with it. He really only had 2 bad passes yesterday. The bounce pass out in the flat late in the game when they're trying to kill the clock to McKenzie out on the right side, and then he had another throw that was behind a receiver over the middle. Beyond that, most of his passes were on target. They were either broken up by a defensive back or there was a penalty calling it back and eliminating it. But I thought there was a level of swagger to Allen's game yesterday. Yeah. One of your favorite words, Murph.
No, I think I know what it means now.
Yeah, so, but he felt comfortable. He wanted to take this game over and make plays for the offense. And, you know, I think for the most part he did that. It's clear that he still trusts his legs a little bit more than he trusts his arm right now, because there are a lot more elements that go into the passing game, obviously. It's a lot easier to just tuck it and run for yardage. Right. But I think Coach Dable played into that, knowing that Josh feels comfortable using his legs. There were bootlegs early in the game to get him out in space, throw, you know, on the move, which he has shown a capability of doing. So, you know, yes, a positive step forward here, no question.
Positive win for the Bills, 24-21. And again, I just want to emphasize what impresses me most is his competitive fire. You know what I mean? He loves to play. He loves to make plays. He likes to celebrate after he makes plays. I think that alone is enough to feel really confident about his future. And the other stuff, I believe, will come with Josh.
Well, and it puts a charge in the rest of the team.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to some of the defensive players saying, what kind of charge does that put in you when you're standing on the sidelines and you got your quarterback flexing in the end zone after he stiff-armed a defensive end and ran over a linebacker to get in the end zone? And they're like, I'm ready to go. After that, I'm ready to jump on the field and go kill their quarterback. So, I mean, that's the kind of energy that, you know, your leader on offense can produce, not only for his side of the ball, but the other side when they get out on the field.
All right, let's get into 4-down territory when we break down the 4 key elements of the win yesterday, the game yesterday. We'll start with first down in our 4-down territory, and we'll start with the Buffalo offense. It wasn't all just Josh Allen. The Bills offense made plays very early on in this game. Allen with a big play here, sits back in the pocket off play action and finds an open receiver, Kelvin Benjamin, who makes a great move. He may have been down right there, by the way, too. His right knee looked like a touch. Jalen Ramsey picked up an extra 15 yards with a face mask there, but a good way to start the game offensively for the Bills with that 32-yard pass to Kelvin Benjamin led to this end-around run, Isaiah McKenzie, who's become a force in the Buffalo offense, Chris.
Yeah, and I thought, and I asked Josh Allen this question on this touchdown, it seemed like the timing of that play was accelerated to take advantage of McKenzie's speed, because he was barely there, and all of a sudden the handoff was delivered, and you know, he outflanked the defense. Granted, he got a couple of great blocks from Logan Thomas and from Zay Jones, and then obviously the big pass play. Here's the thing, Murph. You say, okay, Josh Allen took a step forward. I think the consistency of his game isn't there yet. I think that will come in time. But if he can deliver 4 or 5 big plays like he did yesterday, that's what wins most games in the NFL. 4 or 5 plays. They had 5 plays of 20 yards or more yesterday. Josh Allen had a hand in every single one of them. If he can deliver that each and every week, even if his completion percentage isn't through the roof, that's going to be enough to win games with the defense that they have.
And one of the big plays, you just saw his 43-yard run up the middle. And the one thing that cannot go unmentioned, I think, is the element of speed, which was a factor in the Isaiah McKenzie touchdown speed around the end, the Robert Foster 75-yard touchdown catch, and even Josh Allen's run there. There is a new dimension of speed on this Buffalo offense, which I think has made a big impact in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, no question about it. And, you know, you look at the success that the offense had, the difference in production on first down yesterday in the first half may have been the best it's been all season. 13 first down plays in the first half yesterday, 160 yards gained. This is an offense that was languishing at the bottom of the league in terms of first down yards per play average. Yesterday, they blew the top off of that and really killed it, quite frankly. I mean, they scored the 75-yard touchdown on first down. They scored the 6-yard touchdown to McKenzie on first down. Their first down production yesterday took a giant leap forward.
All right, we're in 4-down territory. Let's get to second down and really the sequence of the game that everybody's talking about, the scuffle, brawl, I would say, not even a scuffle, at the end of the third
nobody
quarter.
Connected, really.
Big pass here to Moncrief, who they ruled it a touchdown. They missed that call among several others in the game. So they have to review it. And while they're standing around, Micah Hyde gets jostled, and then all hell breaks loose, right? And it was Leonard Fournette who decided it was time to leave his bench on the opposite side of the field and run across the field to get involved. He got into it with Shaq Lawson. Those two throwing punches at each other. It got out of hand. It was very ugly. But the important part about this and the immediate following of this, Chris, I thought, was how the Bills responded. The crowd included in that. The crowd was on fire after this scuffle. The Buffalo Bills defense did a great job. The Jaguars were set up first and goal to one and wound up trying a field goal and missed that one. I thought this was the turning point in the game, not just the fight, but the 3 or 4 plays right after the fight.
Yeah, and this is a scuffle as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what neighborhood you grew up in, but that's a scuffle in mine. That's nothing there. Nobody's bleeding. Nothing's going on. Although Sean McDermott had some blood on his hand. I think he connected with a helmet, a rivet on the side of a helmet, and cut his arm open. But what happens here is the defense, the charge put in the defense. I mean, this really turned the tide. They get a second crack to keep them out of the end zone. They get a stop on first down, a penalty on second down that you may want to credit the crowd for because they were loud. They get the false start, sack on third down, and then fourth down they missed the field goal, and the tide and the momentum completely turned. And Leonard Fournette, to his credit after the game, Murph, put the whole loss on himself. He said, that's my fault. I got to put this loss on me. I came all the way across the field, fought a player. It was a dumb decision. I'm out of the game. I cost my team this game. And for a team that lost 6 in a row, woof. Now it's 7 in a row. Thanks a lot, Leonard.
Anytime your coach winds up with blood on his sweatshirt, I think is a good time. I mean, really, it was. And the good part was he didn't change. You know, he left it on there. It was kind of like Kurt Schilling, I think, in the
bloody
playoffs.
sock.
Bloody sock. And Sean McDermott said, "I'm not taking this."
Post-game press conference, Coach McDermott looked like he was ready to grapple with somebody. He was ready to get on the mat and start wrestling. You know, doing something like that. And you know, I think it was nice to not hear the typical coach speak like, "Oh, we can't have that. This blah 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 blah." You know, he actually said, "Hey, somebody's going to challenge us. We're not going to back down."
Yeah.
You know, the fans eat that stuff up. And, you know, that has to be the demeanor of this football team because this team's been kicked around far too much around the league. It's nice to see somebody kind of bow their back, stick their chest out and say, we're not going to get pushed around anymore.
All right, speaking of getting pushed around, this was maybe a disturbing part as we move into third down in our 4-down territory. The way the Jaguars ran the football. Look, they're a team that wants to run the football. They did. Leonard Fournette and the Jaguars. The Bills allowed a season-high 226 yards on the ground in that game. Fournette was just a beast when he was in the game, up through 3 quarters anyway. They had no answers for him. In particular, it was disturbing to see the front 4 get pushed around as much as they did, and we haven't seen that very often this year, Chris.
Yeah, and it was a concern. I think for the most part, though, they got it corrected at halftime. You know, I talked to Lorenzo Alexander about this after the game, and he said, look, Leonard Fournette's an elite back. And I said, really elite? He goes, yeah. I said, why? He said, because he can break tackles. Even if you have a good form tackle, he is strong enough to get out of your tackle. You need to gang tackle him because one man cannot take him down unless he's willing to get taken down. And really what you had there was a guy that did get through some gaping holes. There was some gap responsibility issues, but he is so strong and so powerful, you need 2 or 3 hats on him to get him down on the ground. Now, people are going to say, oh, well, he went out of the game. Of course the run defense got better. Wrong. Second half, third quarter, he's still in the game. The first 9 carries for the Jaguars in the second half go for 17 yards. The Bills had 4 tackles for loss. So that was with Fournette before he got thrown out of the game. So they clearly, Coach Frazier and that defense got it fixed at halftime. It was much better in the second half. They only have 53 yards rushing the whole second half.
Well, that gets us to fourth down, and the Buffalo defense in the second half got better. They did a better job of making big plays, too. 3 sacks in the second half for the Buffalo defense. A lot of that when the Jaguars were in catch-up mode, but Jerry Hughes and Kyle Williams did a great job of rushing the passer. Williams had maybe his best game of the year yesterday. And they came up with picks, too. Matt Milano got one. Jordan Poyer got one. The Buffalo defense, which has been solid all year, has been lacking in takeaways, but they got 2 of them yesterday. The Bills didn't turn it over at all. And I think the better defense in the second half allowed the Bills to win that game with 24 points, which is not a ton of points in today's NFL.
And as we're watching with the footage here, almost every sack that Jerry Hughes or Kyle Williams was a part of came on a twist or a stunt. They were working off each other extremely well. Lorenzo Alexander got in on the act too, but you look at Kyle Williams and Jerry Hughes, the 2 vets up front there. They combined, I think, for 2 sacks. They had 5 quarterback hits. They were all over the place in the second half. I remember one of your calls after a sack, you're saying Kyle Williams is on fire. And they were. They were really good in the second half to kind of shut it down when the Jaguars had to go into pass mode, down 10 points there.
All right, that's our 4-down territory. One of the best parts of this show every week is the interaction we have with you as we get to crowd noise. Comments from you on Facebook and on Twitter, and some of the crowd noise that we get as Bills fans react to yesterday's game. Let's take a look at some of the comments we're getting on social media today, and we'll start with Twitter from Ricardo, who says, great showing from Josh, already looking like the face of the franchise. Milano keeps making plays for this team. I like where this is heading. I do too. I like, as I said, for Josh, who took a step forward, but I think for the entire team. And they've been pretty consistent in their effort level throughout the season, too. There were some bad losses in the first half of the season. Hopefully that's behind us, Chris, and I do like where this is going.
Yeah, and I think the offense is just scratching the surface, and I hearken back to what Josh said earlier in the week. On Wednesday, I want to say it was, prior to this game. He felt this offense was close. Now, I still don't think they're all the way there yet by any means. The consistency isn't there yet. But the big playability has shown up in a big way in each of the last 2 games. And as I said earlier, if you have 3 or 4, 5 big plays in a game on offense, you got a pretty darn good chance to win the football game if you've got the number 2 defense on the other side of you, helping you out and getting stops. So that combination, if you can just get big plays for now and build your consistency as the rest of the year goes on, come 2019, this could be a pretty formidable group on both sides of the ball.
All right, more crowd noise now as we get your comments on yesterday's game and stuff to talk about from Facebook. Bob Mitchell says, Williams and Hughes had an epic game. Maybe a little overstatement there, but I get it. I get the emotion. I see what you're saying. As we said, I thought it was Kyle Williams' best game of the year. Jerry Hughes has been consistently solid all season long. I'm looking up his sacks. What's he got, 6 sacks now so far this season, which is good. Yeah, 6 sacks for Jerry Hughes, leads the team. Lorenzo has 5.5. But Hughes has had a consistent level of excellence, I think, throughout the entire season.
And the reason he hasn't gotten more exposure or more credit for that is because a lot of his pressure comes in the form of quarterback hits. I mean, as little as a couple of weeks ago, he was third in the league in quarterback pressures. And you say, well, what does that mean? Well, that means throws are coming out a little bit earlier. There's a chance for the guys on the back end to make a pick or force an incompletion or get off the field on 3rd down. So, yeah, sacks are the ultimate in terms of dropping a team for a loss and forcing them to punt, but he's getting those other pressures that force other stops too. And I think he's kind of flown under the radar for the most part with the level of consistency that he's displayed this season.
All right, one more bit of crowd noise reaction from Bills fans out there. This from Facebook, Michael DeBent Sr. Keep the creative plays and adjustments coming. We'll continue to win. Go Bills. Did you think it was, I guess it was a creative offensive
It wasn't
right?
in terms of personnel grouping because they were largely in 11 personnel, which is basically
a lot of motion, which was good pre-snap.
3 wide, 1 back, 1 tight end was their most popular. It's been their most popular formation offensively all season long, and I think Josh feels comfortable in that set. And they really didn't shuttle people on in terms of personnel groupings. Occasionally 2 tight ends. I think there was one play I remember with Pat DeMarco on the field in a 2-back look. But for the most part, they went 3 wide. Again, I think they feel their best matchups are with that speed on the field, whether it's McKenzie, Deontay Thompson, Robert Foster. They want those guys out on the field because they force the coverage to respect their speed. And I think eventually it's going to continue to open up more running lanes for Josh Allen yesterday, but hopefully for LaShawn McCoy going forward.
And it was interesting, I think, to note, too, there was a lot of work to the receivers yesterday. Zay Jones had 55 snaps, all but 3 offensive snaps for the Bills, followed by Isaiah McKenzie, who had 33. Robert Foster had 33. Kelvin Benjamin, the nominal number 1 receiver, was at 23 snaps. So the tide has turned a little bit in terms of who's getting the work in the receiving
Now
corps.
that you say that, that is the 4th straight week that Kelvin Benjamin's playtime percentage has gone down here, and it's because these other younger players are emerging and making more plays than him. This is a prove-it league, and if you can't prove it week to week, you're going to be looking from the sidelines more than you're going to be participating in the game.
Okay, every week we like to take a look around the league, too. It's our 2-minute offenses. We look at what's going on around the NFL. Let's take a look at some of the games. MetLife Stadium and AFC East battle, the Patriots and the Jets. Tom Brady threw for 2 touchdowns in this game. This one, a deep one in the first quarter to Rob Gronkowski, who makes a great catch. A little bit later on, there was Julian Edelman, makes this catch in the third quarter. Brady, now the all-time leader in the NFL in passing yardage. Patriots win at 27-13 in New York against the Jets.
Ravens and the Raiders. Lamar Jackson in for an injured Joe Flacco. Bootleg time, in for the touchdown as he runs it in to give Baltimore the 2013 lead. Now up by 3. Jackson goes to the air, hits Crabtree on a slant for the TD. The Ravens beat the Raiders going away.
The Battle of Ohio, the Browns in Cincinnati. Baker Mayfield, we talked about Josh Allen's improvement. Baker Mayfield was great yesterday. This touchdown pass to Callaway. This one, a deep one, coming in the second quarter to Chubb. Nick Chubb makes a great catch over the defender. And the Browns go on to win this one. Great win for Cleveland. Handshake post-game between former Browns head coach Hugh Jackson and Baker Mayfield. Baker said he wasn't happy about Hugh Jackson leaving.
Colts and Dolphins. Dolphins score 17 straight to go up by 10, but here come the Colts. Andrew Luck to Eric Ebron for his second touchdown of the game. Tied at 24, 3rd and 9. Luck, bumbling, stumbling, finds Chester Rogers, left sideline, down to the 22. Tick, 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 3 seconds left. Adam Vinatieri doing what he does. Colts win 5 in a row. Beat the Dolphins 27-24.
A surprising result in Denver. The Broncos and the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger finds Juju Smith-Schuster with his 97-yard touchdown pass. Makes it a 17-10 Pittsburgh lead in the third quarter. But the Broncos were game in this one. They got a Phillip Lindsay touchdown run right here in the fourth quarter to take the lead. Last chance for Pittsburgh. Big Ben throws the pick down near the end zone. Picked off by Shelby Harris, and the Pittsburgh 6-game win streak is over. Broncos win 24-17.
Vikings and Packers on Sunday Night Football. Call this one the usual suspects. Cousins looking for Stephon Diggs. Corner of the end zone. Touchdown. And here's Cousins rolling out to his right, finding his other buddy. It's Adam Thielen, making it look easy like Sunday morning. Getting into the end zone. And look, windmill, windmill. Let's all go to the gin mill. It's a Vikings victory over the Packers as the Packers are out for the postseason. They're not going to make it.
All right, Chris, we're going to take a look ahead now. The first thing I'm going to prescribe decaf coffee for you as we look ahead.
Come on,
decaf
let's make it fun. We only got 2 minutes.
And stay away from the gin mill. But a look ahead, the Bills come out of this relatively unscathed as far as injury, right? They have a couple of players they'd like to get back. They went into the game with question marks about Trent Murphy and Shaq Lawson. Murphy got some action. Of course, Lawson played through 3 quarters. I think they'll look for more recovery from those two. The Bills still with Derek Anderson, really not a factor. I would think he might stay on as the number 3 the rest of the way, right?
It's hard to know what the pecking order is going to be behind Josh.
Once he's cleared.
But we'll hopefully get some more light shed on that when Coach addresses the media. But yeah, Derek Anderson's really been struggling with this concussion. Cannot get out of the protocol. We're going on a month now since the Monday night game against New England. So it's going to be interesting to see where it heads from here. No pun intended. And then Teron Johnson, I think it was very encouraging that he got through the entire game yesterday. You know, he had that shoulder injury that really limited him in practice leading up to the game, maybe more than any other week. We know he's been dealing with it since week 1. Encouraging that he got through the game. Hopefully he's no worse for wear going forward.
All right, the look ahead includes a look at the Dolphins, Buffalo's next opponent. They'll play the Dolphins twice in the final 5 weeks of the season. Miami's lost a couple in a row. They were playoff contenders. They are still nominally in the playoff
They've
race.
lost 4 of their last 5, Murph.
Yeah, nominally. They're barely alive in the playoff race.
Wheels are falling off.
They got Ryan Tannehill back in their game yesterday, but this is a winnable game for the Bills, but I don't think it'll be easy. The Dolphins usually play Buffalo pretty tough.
They do, especially down there in Miami. So, yeah, I think they're in for a battle, and it's going to be interesting to see defensively what Miami wants to do, because I was kind of surprised yesterday to see the approach of the Jaguars not really putting a spy on Josh all that much. After watching this tape this week, you better believe the Dolphins are going to put a spy on him, and it could be Kiko.
Yeah, probably the best suited guy
Could
for
be
that.
Kiko.
All right, we'll talk about that game all week long. We'll talk about yesterday's game coming up on our radio show and television show, the simulcast, One Bills Live. Myself, Steve Tasker, Chris Brown joins us at 1 o'clock on WGR Radio, 550 AM in Buffalo, and on MSG. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll be here next Monday morning at 10 a.m. We thank you for joining us on Bill's Monday Morning Breakdown.